Imagine this. More than 500,000 people around the world, 510,810 to be exact, each worth over $30 million, controlling a combined $59.8 trillion in wealth. That's double the size of the entire US economy. But here's the twist. These aren't just the old money elite sitting on inherited fortunes anymore. The ultra-rich are getting younger, more global, and far more experimental with their wealth. They're not just preserving money. They're redefining what it means to be rich. Because the new wealthy don't just want more. They want meaning. They don't just want returns. They want control. And they don't just want to protect their money. They want it to shape the future. So today, we're breaking down how the richest 0.001% of humanity, those 510,810 individuals, are investing nearly $60 trillion. Where the money's flowing, how it's changing, and what you can learn from the people who have already won the game. Let's start with the numbers, because they're staggering. According to Altrada's World Ultra Wealth Report 2025, the number of ultra-high net worth individuals, people with more than $30 million in net worth, reached a record 510,810 as of June 2025. Together, they now control $59.8 trillion in wealth. That's an increase of 6.7% in just the first half of 2025, following an 11.6% surge in 2024, the third strongest expansion in a decade. And this growth came despite global headwinds, inflation spikes, trade wars, political instability, and market volatility. The data paints a clear picture. While many economies are struggling, the rich are not only insulated, they're thriving. Here's how that fortune is distributed around the world. North America remains the wealth epicenter with 208,090 individuals controlling a collective $24 trillion, or about 41% of all global ultra-wealth. Asia follows closely with 129,100 ultra-wealthy individuals holding $14.8 trillion. Europe sits at $14.7 trillion, supported by established banking and luxury industries. Even Africa saw its ultra-rich population rise 7.5%, driven by demand for critical minerals and a rapidly expanding middle class. To put it in perspective, if the world's ultra-rich were their own country, their combined wealth would be larger than the GDP of the United States and China combined. But this isn't just a story of rising numbers. It's a story of who is holding the wealth and how they're using it. The single biggest shift happening right now isn't about how much wealth exists. It's about who owns it. By 2040, Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z are projected to make up 80% of the world's ultra-wealthy, up from only 33% today. Meanwhile, baby boomers, who currently account for about 45% of the ultra-rich, are gradually handing down their fortunes through what's being called the Great Wealth Transfer. This is the largest generational wealth transfer in history, expected to move tens of trillions of dollars into younger hands over the next 15 years. And with that comes a complete change in mindset. Younger billionaires and centimillionaires are self-made in industries like technology, entertainment, and hospitality, while older generations built their wealth in finance, real estate, and industrial sectors. They're digital native, globally mobile, and less tied to Wall Street or traditional institutions. They want autonomy, flexibility, purpose. In other words, they're not just inheriting money, they're reinventing how it's managed. For the past 20 years, the ultra-wealthy have built portfolios around two things: liquidity and control. That still holds true. But the makeup of those portfolios is changing fast. According to Altrada, here's the 2025 breakdown. 35 to 45% of holdings are in liquid assets, cash, dividends, and income investments. About 30% is tied up in private business ownership or direct private equity. Public equities make up 25 to 30% of older generations' portfolios, but only 18% for younger ultra-wealthy investors. Real estate and luxury assets, including art, cars, and collectibles, have exploded to 12 to 24% of younger portfolios, compared with just 4 to 6% for older investors. Private holdings now make up roughly 1/3 of total wealth. And across generations, debt remains low, consistently under 10% of total net worth. In short, the world's richest are shifting away from paper assets toward tangible ownership. They're buying control, not just exposure. Assets they can live in, build on, influence, and pass down. When you control nearly $60 trillion, you don't just follow trends, you create them. Across continents and generations, the world's richest are building wealth around three core investment themes, each revealing how money, power, and purpose now intersect. 1. Private business and direct ownership. Roughly 30% of all ultra-rich wealth is held in private businesses or direct ownership stakes. The reason is simple. Control equals compounding. When you own the business, you control the timeline, the profits, and the strategy. You're not at the mercy of quarterly reports or Wall Street sentiment. From family-run enterprises to tech startups and private equity firms, this ownership-first mindset defines how the rich stay rich. Even at a smaller scale, the same principle applies. Owning your own business, a rental property, or intellectual property creates asymmetric upside that passive investing rarely matches. 2. Real estate and tangible assets. The next generation of ultra-wealthy is heavily invested in real assets. For them, property isn't just an investment, it's identity. Real estate and luxury assets now account for 12 to 24% of younger portfolios, compared to 4 to 6% for older generations. They're buying multi-million-dollar estates in Florida, Texas, and Dubai, as well as eco-villas, boutique hotels, and wellness retreats that blend lifestyle with cash flow. Beyond property, tangible wealth extends to fine art, jewelry, watches, and classic cars. In 2024, luxury spending among the ultra-wealthy hit $290 billion, representing 21% of all global luxury goods sales. The biggest categories? Cars, $100.9 billion. Private jets and yachts, $28.6 billion. Jewelry, fashion, and furniture, $115.6 billion. Fine art, $19.6 billion. Travel and experiences, $25.3 billion. It's not just consumption, it's curation. These are assets that store value while enhancing lifestyle. For the new elite, luxury isn't about showing off. It's about designing a life that feels one of one. 3. Technology, venture, and the new economy. If there's one sector reshaping modern wealth, it's technology. Altrada's report shows that technology accounts for 9% of next-generation ultra-wealth, while hospitality and entertainment, driven by the creator economy, make up 15%. From AI startups and green energy to content studios and social platforms, younger billionaires are building and backing the future. They understand risk, they understand innovation, and they're reinvesting in the same ecosystems that built their own fortunes. For them, wealth isn't a finish line. It's fuel for the next idea. Of course, the ultra-wealthy aren't just investing, they're spending. But how they spend says a lot about what they value. While luxury spending reached $290 billion in 2024, younger billionaires are moving away from traditional status symbols and toward experiences. They're choosing impact over indulgence. Instead of buying a 10th supercar, they're investing in wellness retreats, sustainable travel, or culinary experiences that money can't replicate. Philanthropy is also evolving. In 2023, ultra-rich donors contributed roughly $207 billion to charitable causes. Education remains the top focus, with about half supporting schools, universities, or scholarships, followed by social services, healthcare, and environmental causes. Interestingly, women now make up 17% of the youngest ultra-wealthy generation, and many are leading this new wave of impact philanthropy. Their goal isn't just to give back, it's to change systems. You might not be managing a fortune, but the playbook behind this $59.8 trillion empire can still reshape your financial mindset. Here are 5 takeaways to remember. 1. Diversify intentionally. The ultra-rich balance liquidity, private ownership, and tangible assets. You can do the same, even with smaller numbers, by spreading risk across income streams and investments you understand. 2. Prioritize control. Wealth compounds fastest when you influence the outcome, whether that's your business, career, or real estate. 3. Invest for meaning, not just money. The next generation of billionaires invests in identity and impact, not just returns. They want alignment between what they value and what they own. 4. Play the long game. The ultra-rich don't chase trends. They think in decades, not days. 5. Redefine wealth itself. For most, wealth isn't about flaunting, it's about freedom. Freedom to choose where you live, who you work with, and what your time is worth. That mindset shift from accumulation to autonomy is where true wealth begins. It's easy to romanticize $60 trillion, but even the ultra-rich face serious risks. Private businesses and collectibles are illiquid. You can't sell them overnight. Venture capital bets? High failure rates. Most startups never make it. And cross-border wealth brings tax, legal, and political risk. But the difference is that the ultra-rich plan around risk instead of reacting to it. They diversify across sectors, continents, and generations. Their goal isn't to avoid losses. It's to make sure that when one door closes, 5 others open. The world's richest people are changing, fast. They're no longer industrialists in suits or Wall Street bankers in corner offices. They're digital founders, creators, and global entrepreneurs building wealth in the cloud, not the factory floor. They're turning money into motion and wealth into influence. They're moving from paper to ownership, from consumption to creation, and from wealth for status to wealth for significance. And as $59.8 trillion transitions to younger generations, we're watching a fundamental redefinition of success itself. Because the question isn't just how much you have, it's what you do with it. True wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in freedom, time, and legacy. If this opened your eyes to how the world's richest think about money, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next deep dive. And in the comments below, tell me, if you suddenly had $30 million to invest, where would you put it first? Real estate, business ownership, or impact? Because the future of money is changing faster than ever, and the people who understand it will always be ahead of the curve. This is Minecraft, where ideas become action, and action becomes your future.